welcome to part 2 of Puddle, the physics-based platformer released like over a decade ago. And we're now currently in the laboratory area, which actually we were already kind of in one at the start of the last episode, but now we're in a much more labby lab, you know what I mean? More, a lot of experimental shit going on. We are playing as a little bit of, shit, I actually did not check. You know what? I think I can restart the level and check. Nope, that's gonna... Well, you know what? Let's be real professional here. Let's exit back to the main menu, because I do want to know what I'm playing as here. We're now in the laboratory. Oh, we were in a water house previously. What are we playing as? We're gonna find out. Skip the cutscene, no one cares. We are hydrocarbon, very fluid. If the liquid falls out of the beaker, it is lost. That's what we're playing as. Hydrocarbon, I think. Then we get to play as the thing inside your car in all Need for Speed games, nitrous. We get to play as nitroglycerin, except it doesn't really respond. First of all, it's not green. Like, for some reason, like, popular media makes us think that that nitrous is green. Maybe it is, actually. Depends on the form, I imagine. I have no idea, but in this game, it's orange, actually. I'm not spoiling much. We're going to see it in like 5 minutes. But as you can see, this fire doesn't hurt us, despite the fact that we're on top of it, because we're in a beaker. This whole level basically requires you to control a separate objects. Basically, this game has a lot of meta object manipulation. In fact, it's a very common trope later on in the game as well, because this isn't the last time. Yeah, that's what happens when you leak. This isn't the last time that we're going to be controlling our fluid from inside of something else. Not to give too much away, but I believe there's another level after this where we're inside of another glass object, so essentially you're controlling what you're really controlling is the environment around you. And then you have some broken graphics for some reason. That happens. Fortunately, nothing game-breaking, though. So you're controlling the environment around you, and then you have to manipulate something that is inside of another thing that you're manipulating. It's really weird. Okay, this game is a very... I know it's not totally original. This is not the only game to ever play this way, but I really like the way this game does it. I love the way it presents itself, too. It's very pretty. It sounds really nice, too. Again, it's kind of like Loco Roco, as I've already said, but, you know, for some reason, I really fucking loved Loco Roco when I was a kid. When I got that shit on my PSP when I was a child, you know, because even though I don't really have a lot of game systems per se, but I did own a PSP. These lasers are a little bit janked up as well. That's interesting. But you can still tell they're lasers. They'll damage you, obviously. I love it when games like game graphics kind of fuck up, but it's not so severe that you don't know what's going on. You can still clearly tell it's a laser, right? Just a little bit of the laser is kind of borked. Maybe it's like the final bit of the texture for some reason. Anyway, oh fuck, and that's gonna be a restart. Yep, no, we're not gonna be able to survive that one. Let's go back. I'll try not to make that a habit. But anyway, yeah, for some reason I really like Loco Roco. It was probably the game flow, probably the fact that it's very fast. This game isn't as fast as Loco Roco, and arguably not as stylish, because that game's gonna age... that game's not going to age, right? Because of its very simple visual style. This game, you know, I think it's aged very well over the last decade and a few years. But I do feel that as we get better and better at calculating physics that are supposed to resemble the real world, and as we understand science better over time, some things about the game might not age quite as well. Whereas with Loco Roco, it's fantastical, and even if the physics technically aren't like super accurate to how a ball would behave in this environment, it doesn't matter because it's a fucking fantasy game, right? And it's really cool. Although, I don't think I'd ever want to play it myself. Hold on, is this... Yes, this is correct. I was actually supposed to break that part and... I love that sound. Okay, you must have a real good time recording those sound effects, just like pouring water through different mediums and then recording that and exaggerating certain frequencies, because believe it or not, oftentimes what you hear that's recorded as a sound effect in a video game or a movie or something, it is very far from what was actually recorded. You know, it sounds very different before it went in, it was EQ'd and compressed and blah blah blah. Now we're controlling oil. So let's hope we don't get invaded by the United States. Haha, that's a funny joke, except that, you know, it shouldn't actually be funny, I don't think. Is that... Do Western people genuinely find that funny? Or do they find that offensive and only people like me find it funny, who aren't a Western person? I'm not sure. But, you know, well, except it doesn't look like oil. Popular media has led me to believe that oil is pure black. So why are we not... I mean, maybe that's tar, to be fair. I don't know, maybe there's different kinds of oil, but that doesn't look like oil to me. Unless it's special purple oil for the special purple universe. I'm not sure. We're going to do a little bit... See, the lasers look fine now. The game's physics... the game's graphics sort of fixed themselves up in between stages. They just need a little bit of a refresh, and everything seems to work just fine. I love these arrows that are so patronizing. Just like, hey, dipshit, go over here. This is a game from the mid-2010s or early 2010s, so we're going to treat you like you're an idiot. Well, to be fair, I think that's a fairly correct assessment, because I have a very hard time, if you've watched the rest of this series, the rest of these videos, you'll know that I'm not exactly adept at discovering the way forward in a video game where the way forward is more than just a straight line forward. That's probably why you like Sonic games so much. Actually, some of them can have, well, they're not confusing. I never understood when some people consider classic Sonic level design confusing. I was like, what, confusing? Overwhelming sometimes? Yes, but confusing? Like, you don't know where to go? Like, really? If you're trying to go for 100%, like, trying to find, like, all the fucking, the super big rings in Sonic Free or Sonic Mania, like, sure, but confusing just to figure out where to go, like, no. The only Sonic game I've had that issue in, I guess, would be the hub world sections of, like, Sonic 06, but we can just kind of say, well, it's Sonic 06, so it doesn't really matter. And also Sonic Unleashed. Like, I'm so fucking glad that game is now fully playable on Xenia, Canary specifically, because for some reason when I try to play the game on RPCS free, I could never get the freaking... Now we're playing as nitroglycerin. Hey, look, we're in the thing inside the cars. Well, no, there's a difference between nitrous oxide, or not just... Or is it nitrous dioxide? Because there's always a 2, so it should be... Oh, shit. And that is its property, as you just saw. We go boom. I went to boom again. I don't actually... I've never played Spyro in my life. I've played Spyro 1 a little bit, but anyway. But yeah, so... What the fuck was I talking about? Sonic level design. Things that aren't related in any way to this game, other than the fact that this game involves speed. Which is actually pretty... You know, I love the particles inside. They kind of remind me of... Have you ever played this game that's also XBLA? It's called Splatters. Dude, XBLA had so many fucking good games. Like, I find it really interesting how, as game graphical technology got better, the best games on those platforms were ones that didn't really fully take advantage of it. The indie games, the smaller games, that was the huge revolution of the 7th generation. Not graphics, not HD. It was the whole... You know, online, the ability, like the online marketplace thing that they did, right? The Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, and WiiWare. That was the true, and then the eShop as well. That was the true strength of that generation, if you ask me. You know, the AAA games were fine. They look nice and shiny and all that, but I think this is the kind of game that makes me more excited. Oh, for fuck's sake, you know, this is actually more of an 8th generation game. Yeah, that's gonna happen a lot. It's not even that difficult. I just have to be more patient. But anyway, so the inside of this gel really reminds me of that game with the... basically have these bombs that you can blow up that are made of goo, and the whole game was basically just, whoa, look at our goo physics, except they must not have been that demanding because, again, my old laptop from several generations ago, even that could run that game. Not super well, but it was definitely playable enough. It's not a very fast-paced, reaction-focused game. It's more of a... Actually, it's more of a puzzle game than this is. Okay, we're just gonna have to sacrifice that guy, alright? Just, whenever something like this happens, the best course of action is just to focus on the portion of your fluid that's making a progress forward. Just completely forget about that other part. You know, at this point, it's dead to you. It's gone, right? So here, for example, if I were to become separated, I would just, fuck it, focus on the one that's farther ahead, and that's it. As long as there's enough for you to get through. That's why they give you the developers are fairly tolerant when it comes to how much of your fluid you need in order to pass the stage. Alright? Like, you know, I just realized something. The game is showing the wrong loading screen graphic. I'm gonna assume a restart would fix that. Jesus Christ. No, this is the Wii U version, to be fair, so... Oh, don't touch... Okay, somehow I didn't die there. Oh, fuck me. Alright, I am dead, actually. So anyway, I've played the game on Steam. It's just like, you know, I for convenience of not having to deal with, like... Because what if, like, my fucking internet goes away or something like that? Like, you have no idea how many times I'll just be recording and my internet just randomly dies. That's also why I'm probably never going to stream. Not only because I Well, I've become, over time, as I've done this series, I've become less heavily dependent on editing. Here, we have to blow that up. There you go. But still, you can't edit in real time, kind of. Well, that means you can kind of disable, you can remove bits of what you're saying in real time by disabling your microphone or whatever, but like, the point is, it's not like how it is with video, right? And also, what if like I'm doing a stream and all of a sudden my internet just goes like, nope? Because my internet is like the definition of a glass cannon. When it works, billion megabits a second, okay, not actually a billion, but it's pretty damn good. You know, upload stuff fast, download stuff fast. But then when it doesn't work, well, then it doesn't work, and it won't work for sometimes up to an hour. You know, just, and no matter what you do, restart some things, router, fuck it, doesn't care. It's just nope, screw it. Or sometimes it'll just randomly become really slow for like a couple minutes and then go back to being good. Strange, I know. Okay, this is the mixing minigame I referenced in part 1. You basically have to have all these liquids pour in. You have to keep a balance. You have to keep it in the middle. It's really freaking annoying though, because it's physics-based, so you have to preemptively move to the other location. As you can see, oh, there you go, perfect, just in time. And no, I actually survived that. I'm a god. I said I'm a god. There you go. Just stay on the blue side. We need more blue as it is. Stay on the blue. We can fail this though. It is possible to fail if you get to the end of the amount of liquid that they give you and are not in the green. So you're gonna have to go back over here. I don't even know what the fuck we're trying to mix right now. Is it like lemonade and blueberry juice? Or blueberry... Wait, no. Actually, we don't need that much of it. Keep it in the green. Very well done. Sound design. Oh, did I win? It went green, so I think we're good now. I think we're gonna get a cutscene now. And now we're controlling technetium solution, whatever that was. Basically, we're now, there it is. It's the bit inside the human body. And this is where the art design gets a little bit different, because as you can see, they're trying to basically make all of this look like it was like an X-ray, right? There's all these X-ray images, and I wonder if these were recreated by an artist, or if they genuinely just got a bunch of, the highest resolution X-ray stuff they could find and zoom it in super far. Or maybe this must have had to have been recreated by an artist, because there's no way you can get that kind of resolution. Let's be fair though, X-ray photos are taken on an actual medium, a physical medium, which means that theoretically you could, if you got access to them physically, you could then take super high-res photos of them, close up. Right? I imagine they do that for the sake of being as accurate as they can when diagnosing things. So, medical stuff. And it's really crazy to think that, like, one of the fields where, basically the stuff that we want for video games is most advanced is in medicine, which I mean, that actually totally makes sense, you don't want to cut corners there. Anyway, so as you can see here, we can interact with these little bulbs or whatever they are, these little pieces of the body, and they trigger him. Basically, there's a lot of ASMR type sounds here, a lot of burping, the kind of shit that, oh, for fuck's sake, look at this. That's the wrong loading screen. Game. Anyway, that doesn't really matter that much. So far, these levels won't be too difficult. Where this section of the game becomes extremely unforgiving is when everything flips. See, right now the environment is black and we're white, but then it's gonna flip. We're gonna become black and the environment will turn white, where we're gonna go all invert. And that's when things get a little bit tricky, because we're going to be dealing with anti-gravity. Oh boy, we all fucking love anti-gravity, don't we, Johnny? Anyway, you know what's funny, actually? Even though he is still making content and his stuff is relatively relevant, I don't know how much of my audience would actually get that. I know that some people who watch me are also familiar with, Some Call Me Johnny, Brain Scratch, all that. Like, if I reference Cat Icarus, you'd have a way better chance, because he is... to my surprise, way more popular than Johnny, which is, I've always found kind of strange, but maybe I shouldn't find weird, because, I don't know, his kind of content, I guess, appeals to a different demographic, a much wider one. I don't know. I haven't really watched Some Call Me Johnny ever since, like, the end of the 2010s or so. I know that he's all about being chill and kind of having that low-key delivery, but it got a little too much for me, to the point where it almost sounds like he isn't delivering the line at all. Like, he sounds like he's falling asleep, if that makes sense. I need a little bit more energy. I like that nervousness that he had in some of his earlier videos, because we all do when we start making content and we're kind of on edge, right? Even like, you might even notice it in the start of this series that I started a couple months ago, right? You might actually hear a little bit of that anxiety in my voice, but now I'm way more relaxed because I've been doing this for a much longer time. And I think that actually sometimes... Oh, look at the fucking broken graphics. But that sometimes aids the content, depending on the kind of content that it is. And I feel that having just a little more energy in there really helps. And I don't know, losing it... It's one of the main reasons why I stopped watching him, you know, all those years ago. I can't say his quality is the content of his quality. God, I'm so autistic. No, the quality of his content has continued to be good. Don't get me wrong. It's a preference thing. I feel like my tastes have changed. I watch a lot of classic Game Room now, and weirdly enough, I also watch a lot of classic Game Room Undertow, even the ones with Derek. And like, you know, the dude's a legend, but I can't deny his voice can be a little fucking annoying at times. So to be fair, he is very much aware of that problem. Oh shit, we're almost dead, I just realized. Although, I'm one to talk because I sound like I'm 12 years old. Anyway, that is something I'm a little bit insecure about. The fact that, like, I'm going to be 40 one day, and I'll still sound like I'm 12, most likely. Look, he just swallowed an Alka-Seltzer. You know, is that what you call it? Alka-Seltzer? I don't know. Pills. Basically, how this works is that you actually have no control over the environment now. That pill is what's controlling the environment. You just have to escape. You just have to escape, basically. You have to run away from it, because it'll kill you, I assume, because it's all red. Red bad, right? Red bad, white good. Glowy white. Jesus Christ, don't say that on the internet. Oh wait, this is on the internet. Fuck. Anyway, and now the pill is gonna show up, and it's gonna activate the little green nubs. I love how I'm physically pointing at my screen, even though there's no camera on this. But anyway, I can actually just use my mouse. See, the thing's gonna show up, and fuck, wait, don't do that because I'm gonna die now. And it has to activate these. I have no idea. I think the developers are just making shit up. Maybe this actually is a genuine, like, construct of the human body. Like, there is a part of us that looks like this, but I don't know. I feel like they're just kind of, okay, let's just make a level made out of random human parts, you know? This is the part where you have control, though. You have to activate these yourself, otherwise you'll get killed because there's nowhere to run. So I gotta really quickly swoosh right over here, physics my way up here, and then physics my way back up to the other side. And this who the hell's been scribbling Sharpie inside this dude? I think he has a lot more issues to worry about than a weird fluid inside of him. I think he has permanent marker in his body. That can't be good. And I'm assuming at this point we're inside of his veins. You know what we have to do? This is the bit where you have to fucking mash left and right in order to... I hope you can't hear that, but look, I have to mash left and right to get his heart rate to go up, which makes me move faster. And this is actually a very interesting mechanic because it's kind of the first time the game gives you true control over how your character or however your puddle moves. Because you can genuinely choose how fast it moves. Now, that doesn't mean that you're in direct control, you're really not, but it feels like you have a little more control than you normally would. Watch out, there's these warning symbols, so you're going to want to swoosh right in between those, and avoid the syringes, because obviously they'll suck you right out, except, hold the fuck up, I don't think a syringe that big should... I know, it's just a visual illustration. I'm sure that we're not supposed to take this literally, right? It's just kind of, okay, we're inside of the dude and there's syringes, right? I mean, look at this, there's green Sharpie inside of him. That's not cool. Does anyone actually call it Sharpie or is it just a marker? I don't know. I've never really... I get that, like, it's a call it Sharpie because it's, like, got a sharp edge to it, I think. I don't know. Why do I always go on these tangents about etymology and how words are... what words are really supposed to mean? I think it's... I've always had this problem where when some things aren't exactly literal... So, for example, like, colors of certain things... Like, I gotta be really careful how I say this. Grapes. grapes. We're talking about grapes here. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm almost dead. But anyway, like they call them yellow grapes when they're clearly green, and they call them black when they're clearly purple, or red when they're clearly purple, or red wine when it's clearly black, or white wine when it's clearly transparent. I'm just like, what? That's not... People, are you insane? I know, it's just a generalization of the color. I get it, but... And maybe because, well, it's being produced, it looks more... I don't fucking know, but it's weird. So, sometimes things are referred to in ways that I don't understand because they don't fit my exact definition of what I think something should be. Can you tell I have a lot to talk about when it comes to the gameplay? Actually, I do, because this whole wiggling back and forth is very intuitive, and it feels good. You know what's funny, though? Because I spent quite a bit of time on this section in practice, and it became like second nature, so when I started the next level, which, there you go, that's the correct loading screen. When I entered the next level that doesn't have this mechanic, I just started wiggling the screen instinctively, thinking that something's gonna happen. I find that really... You ever have that happen in games when a game will introduce a temporary mechanic, but because it's so different and rather difficult to get used to, you spend a lot of time using it. Then when you get used to it, you have to unlearn it for the next section where it's not... And I highly doubt we're going to be doing this again later on in the game. This is a very short game with lots of different... This is the design mentality of games of this sort, where it's a tight little short compact experience where things don't really repeat too much. So I'm pretty sure we're not going to see this particular game element return ever again. Oh god. No, actually, I think we have to wiggle it to... No. That's one thing. I don't fully understand the relationship between the wiggling and whether or not you can control your altitude. Because it's like, how do I make my blob go back down? Not to be confused with Da Blob for the Nintendo Wii, which, you know, back when I used to watch Frequencies. You know, I'm really glad that dude, Frequency, he's still doing YouTube. And the reason why I say that is because with some people, it's like they reach a level of success where it's like, yeah, they'd be stupid not to. But with him, it's like, no, his videos don't get those kind of views they used to. But he still does it anyway. I love that. His content is basically not changed. It's just slightly cleaner sounding, you know, a little bit better recorded. And it's great. That guy's fucking amazing. He's one of like the few channels I'm still actually subscribed to. He's fantastic. But anyway, back when I used to watch him, like when his content was like fresher, he... did a video on The Blob. The Blob 1 and 2, I believe. There was like this Nintendo Wii game. I don't know. Wasn't The Blob 2 on Wii U? God, I don't remember. The Wii U had such a weird library. I'm sometimes genuinely surprised to find out the Wii U had more than like 5 games on it. Believe it or not, the Wii U actually had quite a lot of games. It had more games than the Saturn. I think it had more games than the Dreamcast. It does kind of pain me to know that the Wii U had more games in those two systems, but to be fair, it's Nintendo we're talking about, and this is the eShop era we're talking about, right? So it was much easier to get your games out there compared to how it used to be, where it's like, oh, publishers, production, blah, blah, blah. You know, back then, nowadays, it's like, okay, you got a game, you upload it somewhere, and there you go. People can now play your game. Even if no one plays it, it's like, they can still do that if they wanted to. That's right. That was the level that gave Kid Me an absolutely just nightmarish time going through it. I can't, because that was piss easy. No pun intended. Yeah, because of course that's what happens at the end of that level. But anyway, we're going to continue the series in part 3. This is going to be a very short one, I know, but I think it's refreshing. You know, got to do a couple short ones between every single super long one. But anyway, we're going to see you guys in part 3 of Puddle. See you guys then.